Hey guys, on today's episode of our crew cab highboy build, the cab gets completely stripped out down to each individual component, and you get a peek at just how Ford built these crew cabs. So stick around and find out. Getting a little further along on the crew cab highboy build here, stripping the cab for sandblast. We got to get everything off the cab. Kind of forget about how much little stuff there is everywhere that you have to get rid of, but we got the dash pretty much pulled out, all the wiring harness and everything. The firewall pad's still in there, but getting all the little stuff out and labeling it in little bags so we know what everything went to and can put it all back together. We got the all the doors stripped out. There's the other two. So it's coming right along. Here's Dad's 428 that is going in the crew cab. This is a 68 Cobra Jet. Came out of a 68 Cobra Torino. He got it out of the junkyard for 300 bucks. He's locked up back in the 80s, and he had it in his highboy truck he used to haul cattle with. So we've had it for a long time. We rebuilt it about 2003 when we were going to restore that truck, and plans changed and we never got around to it, so it's set since then. So we've got a bore scope coming. I'm going to inspect the bores and see how it turns over free and everything, but I want to inspect the bores and see how they looked as far as rust goes, if there's any rust. If not, if there is, we'll have to take it all apart and redo the cylinder walls and everything. And probably we're going to take that big DUI distributor off, and it's going to have a little more factory looking setup. Probably going to paint the aluminum intake, and we might be doing a Holley Sniper EFI on this one. Not quite sure yet. I think we're actually even going to take the headers off and put manifolds on it and put a factory pan on it too, so it looks more factory. Wanting it to look a little more factory than we have it set up here. I'm not sure if we're going to keep these valve covers. We got these valve covers that say 428 Cobra Jet, which is pretty cool, but we might be putting the chrome valve covers like my 67 has on it. These, well, you can't see it because of the headers, but these are Cobra Jet heads, and they have bolts crossways too. You can see there's a boss for one of them right there, but they're Cobra Jet heads, so that's pretty cool. And then there's the C scratch in the block for the 428 block. My block does not have that because it was an industrial engine. It was used as an irrigation engine, so it didn't have that. And mine also has ribbing right here where this one doesn't, because it's an earlier production engine. Like I said, it was a 68. Came out of a 68 car, so it was pre-68. So yeah, that's the engine for it. I'll show you what I find whenever we start digging around in this thing. Here you can see the bore on this 428 here. Crosshatch looks perfect, but the main thing we're looking for is corrosion in the cylinder walls. I could not find any whatsoever, so that's good. Engine turns over free. Here you can see the sealed pro pistons. Those are 50 over pistons. But yeah, this it looked real good. That was the back hole here, and we turned the engine over and made sure there wasn't any corrosion in the where the rings were sitting as well. So that bore is perfect as far as I'm concerned. The valves are, there's no valve train in here, so the valves are all shut, so that probably helped out a lot. I need to gonna have to pull the intake off and inspect the valves and make sure that none of the valves are gonna be stuck or anything like that, or there's anything on the back of the valves, stuff like that. Make sure all the valves are gonna be happy, because those can stick. And we did have this was covered. I think we're going to take that oil pan off as well and inspect everything under there. But not having to take the rotating assembly apart is the big plus here, because that was all refurbished at the machine shop and everything. They bolted the heads down, so we have to get new head gaskets and stuff, but that's not a big deal if we have to take the heads off if some of the valves are stuck. But that's not a huge deal. The big thing was the rotating assembly and making sure that's all right. So I think we're good to go. And this is a little farther down the line as far as needing the engine, but if we needed to do major work for it, I wanted to get that started. So that can be done whenever we need it. But so far looking good. Well, we got the crew cab stripped out, ready for sandblasting. We got it out here, kind of washed everything out. It was full of a bunch of dog hair from the previous owner. She had German Shepherds or something, I think is what the story was. A little bit of corrosion back here on the back of the cab there, and the extension. This is the extension part that they would have put in when they built it. Obviously corrosion here in the floorboards. Some on the other side too. Somebody at some point had put foam under the headliner. I don't know if it was to try to dampen the roof, or maybe the headliner was sagging, but they injected foam under the headliner. So it was destroyed getting that out of there. Got all the little stuff out of the dash here. The firewall's all stripped out. Be a good time to show you how good the cab mounts are on this. Really solid, which is good. If it wasn't for the rust in the doors and the floor, this would be an awful solid truck. These are probably going to have to be cut out and replaced, probably, if you're going to do it right. But we're going to pull this thing off of the frame and take it to the sandblasters so they can do their thing. Here you can see we're getting the front axle kind of broke down, so we can clean it all up and make it all look like new. Here you can see the closed knuckle. This is what they call a big ball, or that would be slaying. This would be the I think it's 3,800 pound axle. There's a 30, maybe it's 35. I think it's 3,500 pound, and there's a 3,300 pound axle, and this ball right here is smaller, and the hub is smaller. These have big bolts. A good way to tell, these have big bolts holding the lockout hub on. The smaller ones are a little smaller. You can see on this side here, there's those big bolts I was talking about that hold the lockout hub on. The smaller axles don't have that, but here you can see it all assembled. There's a roller bearing in here that the kingpins go on, that that you steer with, and there's shims to set the gear mesh there for those, so you have to get that all set up. And there's felt wipers that wipe this closed knuckle section off, because there's supposed to be heavyweight oil in here. This is somebody previous owner put grease in it, so it's all nasty with grease, but it should be heavyweight oil. And the U-joint doesn't have any seals in it, but this one has seals in it, so it wasn't doing any good anyway. But I have to clean all that up and get it in better shape. The ring and pinions on it had 14 gears. All the Highboys other than the 67s had 14 gears. The 67s had 456. Everything looks good and clean in there, so that's good. Gonna finish tearing this thing all apart, and we'll probably steam clean it with our pressure washer. And I don't know if we're painting it or powder coating it or what we're doing there. I haven't talked to the sandblaster about what he wants to do there, but we'll get that all figured up after we get the frame all repaired and all of this stuff figured out. This is the Dana 60 rear axle out of the crew cab. I think we're going to use this one because this one's in really good shape. That other one used as a farm truck. It has a lot more use on it. It's a little beat up. This one is in really good shape. Still has some of the paint on it in places. This one has 373 gears. I'm not sure what gears we're going with yet. Since we don't have an overdrive transmission, we might do something like 355s. But I think we're going to use this axle in the rear. And we'll do the same thing to this one, strip it all down and clean it all off and see what we need, and go from there. Here's the Dana 60 that was out of the Highboy chassis. It's not in terrible shape. You certainly could use this one, but you know, things like this, there's a lot more pitting on the frame, or the tube right here, and just things like that. The other one would clean up a little bit better, so might as well use the one that's in better shape. This one is an HD, so it has the extra webbing right here that the other one doesn't have, but that's not a big deal for what we're doing with it. Had some a guard welded on the pinion there, but that pinion is easy to change. And over here is the leaf springs. We might have to get new leaf springs in the rear. We'll have to see if they can rebuild these or not. They might have too much wear on them. Had overloads on it. I don't think those are going back on. But over here's the frame. It's all stripped down. There's our section we added. Still have to do some repairs up here. The hole for the leaf spring is wallered out here on this bracket on both sides, as well as this motor mount here. It needs some work on it right here. The back end we still have to cut some Those yellow lines there are where we still have to cut it, but there's some pieces missing down here and it's bent. Got to repair that. Little things like that we gotta see right there. There's a piece missing off the bottom, but we'll be able to fix that. Not a big deal. That's where we're at so far. It would be nice if we got this thing all painted and rebuilt and ready to go before the body shop got too far along with the body, because then we could start putting it all together, and right after they paint it they don't have to work around not having a frame. So we'll have to get after getting this thing ready to go. Well, we got all the bits and pieces loaded on the trailer, getting ready to head to the sandblaster, and so they can do their thing and get started on it. Not sure, there won't be much updates on this thing since we'll be working on the frame a little bit, but we'll make sure everything's ready for the body shop when they're ready for it. They're probably still a month out, but it might take them a while to get to this at the sandblaster, but we wanted to make sure they have everything and they're not waiting on us. So we're gonna get this headed over there, and I think that's just about it for this episode. Thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to subscribe so you can catch all the future videos we have on this thing. It might be a while, but we'll be working on that frame here before too long, so hit that subscribe button so you know when that happens, and thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.